So today, I feel so incredibly privileged to be sitting here with one of the most legendary viola pedagogue, Heidi Castleman. I first met Heidi, in fact, through my lovely husband, Misha Amory. And since then, I would say on a very personal level, Heidi has always represented in my life one of the best teachers I could possibly have, a life teacher. And today we're sitting here because we want to kind of frame our conversation around a body-mind connection that is so essential to our existence. I think musicians in particular, there's a great need for it.
It's medicine in motion. The body has an amazing ability to heal itself. Yeah. It requires patience and time. And just as with string instruments, it requires practice.
Yes.
So it's such a great teacher, because if you do the movements and practice with a spirit of self-discovery, you can grow and find your voice and balance. I love its relationship to playing a string instrument, because we have strings and our strings shouldn't be too loose.
Yes.
And they shouldn't be too tight.
Yes.
You have to find the middle way. There's so many parallels.
I really love how you've just turned our attention to the body as the instrument.
Yes.
Right? And that is...
I get excited. Yes.
No, but that is always the sort of something that I certainly talk about with students when we're playing together often is your instrument is not the instrument. Actually, your instrument is the body.
Yes.
And framing things around to allow what we want to say onto the instrument so that you're dealing with this instrument. So
breath carries qi, but it is not qi. Qi is an energetic network that's like the wireless iPhone. But while we're alive, there are channels that flow throughout our body that are meridians. They are energy pathways. And Western medicine has difficulty with this concept because when we are no longer with our battery, when our battery is gone, and they do an autopsy, there's no evidence of these energetic pathways. So they go, well, it must not exist. But that's not true. The blood carries the qi. And one of the ways I find helpful to sensitize ourselves to the flow of qi is, I think, our sense organs. Whether it's the sense of touch, the kinesthetic, whether it's our eyes, whether even just like tapping. If you tap your fingers or tap your, that activates things. Our ears, our nose, our tongue, all of the sense organs, I think, are really the end points of those energy channels. For instance, one of the things after bathing our bodies in qi that happens is called scattering rice. And if you go with the pinky, the ring finger, the middle finger, the first finger, and the thumb, basically what you're activating: kidney, liver, heart, spleen, lung. So there are really direct correspondences in our body to our organs.
When I was about 12, I had a teacher who was so in tune with all of this. And, at 12, I did not know anything. I was just barely able to play in tune, just was trying to learn a staccato stroke, which I wasn't working. And I remember he did this for me. He did this for himself. And he came over and he said, "Now, do you feel something?"
Yeah.
Right. And I no, I feel nothing. But of course, as a young kid,
Yeah.
I think some of these things, like that lesson, sat with me for life. I will never forget that. But I do remember at the time thinking, that was just nonsense. What are you talking about? I didn't get that, right? And then, of course, later on, when I was 14 or 15, going to the Menuhin school and meeting Yehudi Menuhin and knowing how much he believed in yoga. And there, all of a sudden, something opened up in me. And then I thought, oh yeah, there is something special when you can put yourself in a position where your awareness it's pure, it's right here, but all of a sudden nothing else really mattered. And that sense of balance, you talk about harmony and balance from within. A musician's work is actually inside work.
Yeah.
There is, of course, there are these other things we have to hone in order to carry our voices across, but inside our own sense of balance and that sense of vitality.
I think finding a way to be quiet enough inside, this goes back to your question about breathing, that one can follow intuition and not the mental consciousness.
Yes.
So being able to just focus on the in-breath and the out-breath, how long that lasts. And actually, you can even relate it to up bow and down bow.
Always, yes.
But I totally agree with what you're saying in terms that the breath is where it begins and ends. And we're so busy in this modern world doing.
Yes.
That to just be.
Yeah.
Mm.
Would you like to share and show us a few moves of Qigong that for you is essential every day, like brushing teeth?
Yes. I think I'll start with two fundamental movements. One is wave push, and the other is revolving door. Everything in Tai Chi and Qigong is circular. And the revolving door is an approach to dealing with stress that doesn't go like that.
Yeah.
But goes with it.
Nice.
So that's one fundamental. Another, the revolving door, is as you would imagine. Or so that if somebody comes up to you and tries to push you, go with it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The dragon is from the earth, and the primary thrust is from the heel directing it into the earth first and then going out. The leopard moves primarily on the ball of the foot. So it's a different lightness to it because the leopard, of course, is not very strong. And the crane, well, the bear it's like coming out of hibernation, and there's a very heavy feeling, lumbering. So, and the crane is very light, and so everything comes more from the wings. So the dragon, there, there are mudras that are hand gestures, and they have medicinal purpose as well as symbolic. And the dragon, it's like the way you would do to kind of get your hands where to
Yes.
feel the chi,
Yes.
but the reverse, except for the pinkies are open. And the reason for this is that this is where all the lymph nodes are. So it's an immune function. So the mudra and the arms are at heart level, and we'll go exactly similar. And the feet will, you rub along the instep and go out this way. And you do 3, you turn around, do 6, and then you do 9. And this is one of the things that in every immune Qigong class is done. Leopard was actually a favorite in our studio class because, okay, the mudra for the leopard it's for the connective tissue. And so everything is coiled. The whiskers here are sort of ready to pounce. And the feet, again, it's this from under the central channel out, leading on the ball of the foot. So, and again, it's at heart level. So, and then if you're going to turn around, you just go this way. Or you can do 3. And the hands are always connected. There's this energy that connects them. So if you're going now, why was this a favorite in studio class? Because at the end, you get to pounce.
You got to be aggressive.
So, and I'm not allowed to jump, but so I won't. But excuse me. How do you say leopard? Is it pow in Chinese?
Bao.
Pow.
Bao.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly like that, what you just did. There's something. That's right. Nice.
Something. Now you can understand why that was a favorite, right?
That's great.
Bear is very good for the bones, and it starts out with just sort of the whole solar plexus area, almost feeling as if the solar plexus area can lift the whole side off. And then excuse me, sorry. But and the stamping is to actually stimulate the bone.
Right.
The crane is so beautiful. In a way, it comes out of the bear in that although the center is really here, where your wings are, where you're opening, gathering, opening, gathering, opening, gathering. The whole tail, it's from here to the end of the toe. And if you, let me see, so the toe energy is going in, but then the toe comes off. And finally, I'm not going to hit your camera, sorry. You go across the midline. Hello. But those are examples of the different totemic animals that were models, and they each accomplish something else.
Right. That's beautiful. Thank you, Heidi. I was really aware of how some of the movements may seem simple, but all of them requires incredible awareness and actually great balance, right? to be able to do what you've just done.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative also of how your posture, your frame seems so right. You seem loose, but you're structured.
Thank
And
you.
that is always what we talk about, I think, in playing as well. I would always say, you have that frame, you have to have structure, but it's loose. It stays loose. It's not floppy, right? It's not floppy. So when people, they think, oh, I'm relaxed, I can just be. No, that is actually so terrible for the body if we are letting go. So you're carrying with great awareness actually something that's so strong and powerful, but you're you. You're just there is it's all of this. That's where the strength comes from. That is just amazing.
Do you know one of the things that has helped me the most is Qigong deals with three cauldrons: the lower dantian, the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and the upper. And just they actually speak about the lower is the center of the fluids
Mm-hmm.
and liquids and the reproductive and cooler. The middle is where the gases, the oxygen and light mix.
Mm-hmm.
And the center of, actually, they believe, and I think the center of consciousness is in the heart. It's metaphysical, but and is warmer. And the mind, spirit, the Shen, in the uppermost cauldron is cooler and more watching.
Interesting.
Does that?
Yes. So maybe this is the kind of the mental consciousness you're
Yes.
talking about. We need to release.
Well, but if you, right, if you, it's interesting. My teacher somehow always calls it the monkey mind.
Interesting.
As
Yeah.
opposed to Alea consciousness or the consciousness that's more intuitive.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, I guess I don't know if they both reside up there or not, but yeah, I think no, I don't. I'll be quiet.
No. You. So one other word that I think relates so beautifully with what you're saying, it's paying attention to that whatever that subconsciousness and letting it guide, that intuition letting you guide. Um, the Chinese has a word called Hui Yan, and it's a wisdom eye, the eye of
Yes.
wisdom. And eye of wisdom, they consider right in the middle of the, and it's like as if there's an opening. There's an opening that you see without seeing.
Yes.
Right? And that is constantly what you want to empower the students to feel. Growth is just such a large, I mean, life is a gift, but as we exist through the world and on whichever journey we're given, you hope that every moment we can feel so alive by opening up that intuition and being connected, right? Being connected between up here and down there. We're just part of it all. So I am a big believer in yoga. I do yoga also for balance, and each day, I can have a good session where I feel truly calm. I can have a terrible session because I couldn't release the mind, and then I could tell I can't do my poses because I'm not balanced. I could always tell when I'm in my own way. But the yogas, their poses tend to be more trees, plants. You know, the sort of the inspiration, so to speak, from all those ancient cultures. They they just turn their senses elsewhere. It's never human inspired. Does that make sense?
Interesting. And this goes to the question that you posed when you wrote to me also, which is, in an urban environment, how do you help people? I do think going out to the park and feeling the earth is really important.
Yes.
And going outside every day, just walking. And for me, that's a very important part of finding a rhythm.
Yeah.
Just it's a meditative in a way.
Yeah.
Until crazy people run into you with their bikes.
So I know that as a string player, sitting and playing, talk about conflict, right? When we play, when we can stand straight and feeling totally connected, this is the feeling of balance. This is the feeling of being grounded, and sitting immediately takes away something that is so critical. And so I know that with sometimes hours and hours of playing, that students needed to release their backs. So I will just show a couple of things that I think can be really helpful for the upper back. And getting on the ground, this is what's called child's pose. A good way to feel the energy is to count the number of breaths. And I think as we go through the day, you eventually you get used to what it feels like to count a slower breath. And so there's always counting going on. Musicians count, you count in bar numbers, and you count your breath. The other thing I love doing actually is called it's needle and thread, and that's for our upper backs. Start by opening up, and this you will feel the upper back is compressed. Then you thread the needle through, and you stay. I can feel the upper back being tight, and I just stay. I stay to release into it. Deep breathing also really helps our muscle releasing more. So if a pose feels difficult, should never force it, but always go with the flow. And by breathing out, you can sometimes go deeper into the pose. Here's another one. And maybe I'll show my favorite one, which is in fact maybe one of the hardest ones. But I really love doing it because it, for me, helps with the back. And I can usually tell if my back is in trouble, and you have to pay attention back at all. They call that the plow pose. And I find if in the morning I am a little stiff and I can't go, my toes can't touch, again, just hold it long enough, hold it and breathe out so that you gradually get there. But yes, through yoga, to, you try to learn to be quiet inside.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, and every day it's a different experience. So I find what's really important is not to expect that just because one day you could do something really well, that you cannot, someday I just might not be in the right frame of mind. And then I have to say, okay, it's okay. It's okay. I get back again.
Every day is different, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Yeah. Wow.
That was my little yoga thing.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Heidi.
I won't do the plow, but I'll try the others.